Kelsey was named the 24th head men's basketball coach at the College of Charleston earlier this spring. Today, I talk one-on-one with him about the basketball program and what's going to happen next for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Coach Pat Kelsey, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Hey, Quintin, how are you? It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, the last time I ran into you for the first time at the corner of King and Calhoun when I was on my way to an interview, and I said, hey, can I interview you for Quintin's Close-Up? So here we are. I know that you were named the 24th all-time head men's basketball coach at the College of Charleston on March 25th, 2021, the fifth all-time winningest coach in the history of the Big South Conference. Obviously, you resurrected that proud basketball tradition at Winthrop University, averaging 20.7 wins per season over the last 9 years in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Who is Coach Pat Kelsey these days?
Well, first of all, I appreciate all those kind things that you said about me. I wrote them all down because I'm going to go share them with my in-laws. You know, who I am, I tried my best, Quintin, to keep my life simple. I'm not smart enough to be too complicated. My best chance of being successful is try to be good at as few things possible. And, you know, my life's about three things: my faith, my family, and my passion, my profession, which is teaching and coaching. And it takes every waking hour of every day and all the passion I got to try to be as good as I can be at all three of those things.
That is just amazing. I know, obviously, as you know, the College of Charleston has the college brand, but you created your own brand shortly after coming here, and you said, Our City. Let me ask you, Coach, why Our City? Why now?
It's a great question. And first of all, when you say the college, you know, that brand, that mark, that saying is powerful. I think that's one of the coolest brand marks in all of college sports. I mean, think of it, the college, you know, how powerful that is. So I am all in on that. We use that with recruits. We talk about it all the time. It just speaks to the excellence and how elite this place is. But when we came up with Our City, it was really a call out to everybody in this region, in this city, in this amazing city, that the dream I have when I stare at the ceiling every night and say my prayers before I go to bed, I see that vision of Charleston basketball being the it thing in this community. And it has such a powerful tradition, you know, starting back for many, many years. I mean, but I think of the John Kress era and the era of excellence and the success and the winning and the way he did it the right way with class, the relationships that he built in the community. But then, you know, you think about the success with you know, Coach Cremins. And then, you know, I give Earl Grant a lot of credit for, you know, the culture that he built here and the excellence that he continued to have in this program, and handed the program over to me in really good shape. But, you know, I just envision this being must-see TV in Charleston. TD Arena packed and live and loud and passionate every single night, and making it where it's like, you know, you can't miss it. You have to be there. Man, what an awesome thing would be if the demand was so high that the supply got smaller and it became harder and harder to get in the doors. Like, that is the type of thing that, you know, that I dream about every single day. And I embrace this amazing city, the relationships that I'm building, but just the sense of gratitude that I have every day for being able to drive across the Rivenel Bridge, look into downtown, drive through this historic city with beautiful architecture, unbelievable restaurants, the views and the scenery, and to know that I live here and I get to sell this every single day. And then, you know, at the epicenter of this amazing city is this jewel, you know, right down here in downtown, and that's the College of Charleston. What an amazing place. Phenomenal academic institution, and then this world-class college athletics program. And you know, Our City is what this is about. It's about making our basketball program Charleston's team.
Absolutely. What are you doing in Our City right now as the 24th head basketball coach?
Well, we're getting ready. If you listen real closely late at night, Quintin, what I say, you got to listen real close. You can already hear that ball starting to bounce, man. The season is upon us. We're a couple weeks out from kicking off full practice. Heck, we're only, 7 or 8 weeks away from the ball going up in the air for the first time in our game, starting our season. So it's been a long process since I got the job, putting our roster together, recruiting players, building the culture within our program. And we're getting close. So, that's where a lot of my attention and focus is right now. But for most of the first 5.5, 6 months since I've been here, it's, a lot of relationship building around the community. It's building a relationship with the student body. It's generated excitement for our program in the upcoming season. And all those things continue to take place every day. And it kind of, it requires very little sleep and a bunch of energy. And those are two things that I do pretty well. I don't sleep very much, and I have a bunch of energy. So we're excited about where this thing's heading.
Absolutely. I'm just sitting not even a block away from the TD Arena. I can probably say hello to you right there. But how are you recruiting players from states whose seasons and competitions have been modified due to COVID?
Yeah, COVID has been an obstacle and a thing that we've all had to deal with in every walk of life and every industry. And especially in recruiting, it's made it difficult. There was a better part of a year, maybe even a little bit more, where nobody could go off campus to recruit. No recruits could come on campus to see the university. I mean, that's difficult for anybody, but especially at Charleston, because our greatest sell is them having their feet on the ground here, looking around and seeing this extraordinary place. So it's what it's allowed us to do, and everybody in the industry, is get more creative in virtual recruiting, Zoom calls, those type things. So I think if you look at it from a positive, now that we've gotten back into more of a regular recruiting type cycle where we are out there, we are traveling, still being able to utilize the convenience and of virtual type and online type visits is something that's going to serve us well moving forward.
What are the biggest disparities that you see in the recruiting process right now?
The biggest disparities, you said?
Yes, sir.
You talking about around, comparing different colleges around the country?
Yeah.
Everybody has their positives and negatives, right? So depending on what institution you're at and what city you're in and what college campus and what basketball program, everybody's going to obviously play to their strengths. That's what we try to do in basketball. That's what, companies do. You always want to play to your strengths. And to be honest with you, we don't have a lot of weaknesses here, which I think is a great thing. The sell of the city speaks for itself. The sell of the campus, it's a wow. The caliber of academic institution here, off the charts. The facility here, you mentioned TD Arena, nestled right down in the middle of downtown Charleston. How cool is it that you walk down the street and all of a sudden you walk up on it and you go, wow, like that, the arena's right here. And it's kind of blends in with the rest of the architecture. And then you walk in and then it's this wow, when you see that setting, unbelievable setting. I think one of the better settings in all of college basketball. The tradition that we have to sell. There's so many advantages here. So the disparity in terms of what other colleges have versus, I'd put us up against anybody. And that's why I'm so bullish on the future of our program.
And how much are you doing more with less that actually will be expected from you this season?
Well, we say in our program, we make no excuses and we give no explanations. There's this thing called BCD in our program, which is to blame things, complain about stuff, and try to defend that you're right. That we try to ruthlessly eliminate from our program. So, if somebody's going to come in and say, well, hey, you just took over the program, you only had 3 players returning, you had to go out and sign 10 players in 10, 11 weeks, trying to make excuses, like, I don't buy into that. That's not fair to John Meeks. That's not fair to Dalton Bolin. That's not fair to Demetrius Underwood. That's not fair to O.C. Smart. Those are some of our seniors, and they don't have another year. This is their last year of college basketball, and everybody in this organization, 25 strong is what we say, is pulling in the same direction to make sure that their senior year is one to remember forever. So, I'm not going to give you the old, hey, it's a rebuilding year. We're going to wait till next year, wait for a couple years down the line. My expectation is for us to be good every single year. And I really like where our team's at.
I interviewed the Coastal Carolina University head football coach, Jamie Chadwell, for Quintin's Close-Ups recently. And we talked about the vaccination goals for his team. He said, quote, "We started out low, but we've gotten closer and closer to it over the last month." How have you gotten closer to the vaccination goal for your basketball team?
Yeah, all of our players are vaccinated. So I feel great about that. We have no issues there. 100%.
100%. That's amazing. And obviously, you have had a lot of accolades coming your way from a lot of notable people. One person said this, quote, "Players don't just play for Pat Kelsey. He works tirelessly for his players." What else are players playing for right now?
Each other, each other. I appreciate you saying that. I've ripping and running the first 4 or 5 months. You say all those nice things. You talk about a little bit of humility. I was 3 or 4 days after I got the job, and I was running to a meeting at a restaurant with a donor, and I'm kind of in a hurry, and some guy kind of grabs me like, "Hey, anybody ever tell you look like that new basketball coach, Pat Kelsey?" And I was in a hurry. I just kept walking. I turned around and I kind of said, "Yeah, man, I get that all the time." And he goes, "Man, that must really tick you off." It was a little humble pie there, but no, I'm proud of the success that we've had. But the biggest reason for the success we had, first of all, I would say, is I got great people around me. My basketball staff is as good as anybody, and I wouldn't trade them for anybody. And I don't care if Coach K called me to trade his staff for mine. No way. So they've done an unbelievable job, and we identify the right type of fits that'll thrive in our culture and our system. But more than anything, the greatest motivation that players can have is to not let the guy next to them down. Right? It's all players, everybody in every walk of life has some degree of an ego. That's fine. Sometimes in certain respects, that's healthy. You want that personal drive and personal motivation. But when everybody's about one common cause, and it's about we, not me, and the biggest motivation is me working so hard that I'm not going to let the guy down next to me is probably the most powerful motivation that there is.
Your dad is your biggest influence in your life, and a businessman, a coach, and a leader, you said. How do you motivate this basketball team from a business standpoint?
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, my dad is the ultimate role model. If I always say, if I could become half the man and leader that he is, I'll have been successful in my life. Coach Prosser, Skip Prosser, my mentor, who was the coach at Xavier and then Wake Forest for many years, passed away in 2007. He used to say, as teachers, as leaders, that he uses an Emerson quote that says, "Our chief want in life is to make us do what we can." He uses that as the ultimate description of what we as coaches and teachers are to do, and it's to push the student athletes that are under our charge to be the best that they can be. And obviously, it's very cliche and it's an old saying, but I think there's so much truth in it. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's developing relationships and trust. And I feel like my staff does that as good as anybody in the country.
How do they trust you?
Well, I think, trust starts with walking the walk and not just talking the talk. You have to be about the ideals that you preach every single day. Obviously, I think you lose respect for your team, loses respect for you, and you lose your locker room if they don't feel you're about upholding the same things that you're preaching. So none of us are perfect. Coach Prosser used to say we're all messed up in our own way. And having that humility to be able to say, I have flaws, I have weaknesses, with your shortcomings, it's owning those things, right? So I'm never going to walk around and try to go in front of my players, pretend in any way, shape, or form that I'm perfect. I'm far, far, far from it. But I think it's very important as leaders in coaching with our coaching staff to set a great example every single day.
And obviously, you have six non-conference games away from home on the docket for the 21-22 season. And I went back and listened to one of your YouTube clips when you actually introduced the first class to the College of Charleston just recently. And I know you have been described energy-wise as making coffee nervous. How do you make your competition nervous this season?
Yeah, Coach Prosser said that about me a long time ago, that I make coffee nervous. I have a bunch of, I mentioned all the flaws and faults I have. One of the biggest is the amount of hair, and obviously my looks are definitely a weakness. But I do have energy, man. I've always had that, and I always utilize that in coaching. You know, in terms of what you said about making our opponents nervous, all we want to focus on is the next repetition of the next drill and be great at the next thing we do. You know, essentially being unbelievably process oriented. You know, we feel like when we do that, the results take care of themselves. You know, the results at the end of the day in this business, in sports, and really in any enterprise, there's a scoreboard. There just is. And at the end of a 40-minute segment, somebody's going to have more points than the other team. You know, I'm not going to pretend we're perfect and that every single game we're going to win. We're going to sure as heck try. You know, I always say, Coach Frost used to tell the story. He came home one time from a baseball game and he was all disappointed because they had lost. And his mom was kind of consoling him, had her arm around his shoulder saying, you know, that's all right, honey. You can't win them all. And his dad said, it doesn't say that in the rule book. So obviously every time we tip it up, we're going to give everything we got. But, you know, it's just about our 25 strong mentality. Owning your 20 square feet is just trying to be great in your individual responsibilities every day. And if we do that, we'll continue to build, we'll continue to get better. And at the end of the day, if all goes according to plan, we'll be playing our best when it matters the most, and that's March.
I know you have to run over to a meeting at 9:30, so let me wrap it up really quick. But why is your job, the head men's basketball coach that is at the College of Charleston, a top 30 job in the country?
I mean, gosh, look. I mean, look out the window of my office right now. I mean, look at this unbelievable setting. I'm looking at the Ravenel Bridge and Charleston Harbor leading out to the Atlantic Ocean. And then I walk about 2 minutes in that direction and you see one of the most enchanting college campuses anywhere in the world. You have this unbelievable academic institution to sell, the tradition of this basketball program, the caliber of people, the leadership that Dr. Shu provides, that Matt Roberts provides here in our athletic department, the facilities. Who doesn't want to be in Charleston? Who doesn't want to live here? You know, heck yes. I think it's one of the best jobs in the country. And hopefully they'll have me for a long, long time.
Yes, indeed. And I know you've been in the Carolinas for at least 20 years. What is the biggest difference about this region athletically?
Well, you know, I'll start with this region in general. I mean, heck, I'm from Ohio, and I walk outside and you smell that low country smell and you see palm trees. And that was vacation to me growing up. So that's when I kind of look around. I go, they're paying me to live here? It's you know, it's one of those pinch yourself moments. But you know, athletically, I think maybe what you're talking to is the recruiting base. I mean, you know, obviously, we talk about our breadbasket all the time. That's our state of South Carolina, and then all the states surrounding us. The amount of talent, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, you know, there's definitely the caliber of players good enough to help us win championships. And then, you know, obviously the areas that through our careers in terms of our staff that we have great connections to and networks. I'm from the state of Ohio. We recruit Ohio really hard. Got great recruiting contacts in Australia and internationally, and we have an international flavor to our team as well. So, you know, I think this area is obviously a hotbed for talent, and it's definitely a strength.
And I know someone else said this about you, quote, his energy and competitive spirit have always reflected that. What will be that spirit inside the TD Arena? I know that's a redundant question.
Well, no, I mean, I think a truth in athletics is more often than not, a team takes on the personality of their coach. It's just usually that's what happens. And my personality is one you've already described, is obviously high energy. I take pride in throughout the course of my life learning from my father, you know, a work ethic and a toughness. that I like to feel like that I'm about, and I try to personify. And I hope that my team takes on those type qualities as well. We're gonna be a fun team to watch. If you're watching this around Charleston and you've thought in any way, shape, or form about investing your hard-earned entertainment dollar in season tickets, it'll be well worth it. Trust me. You'll come once, you'll come again. We're gonna be a fun team to watch. We're gonna play together. We'll be a team. We play fast offensively, tough and gritty on the defensive end, and nothing's like a packed arena with energy, a sixth man, if you will. And I think it's important for everybody that's listening out there to understand that I don't want this to be my team. I want it to be yours. I want it to be the cities. I want it to be the communities. I want it to be the student bodies. So let's all do this thing together and create something really special for Charleston and get TD rocking. We'll see everybody. In November.
And the last question, I know you said your team is going to be fun to watch. What is that one player to watch?
I don't think there's just one. I think one of the strengths of our team is going to be our depth. I think that's a great attribute for a team, to be able to give relentless effort, know that somebody's coming right behind you off the bench to maintain that high level. I talk about our seniors because I always think, besides taking on the personality of their coach, the leadership, counsel from your upperclassmen is so important. And how important it is for me as a coach to send these seniors off with a bang. So, obviously John Meeks and Demetrius Underwood and O.C. Smart and Dalton Bolin, those guys are really, really important to the core of our team.
Coach Pat Kelsey, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Our city, okay?
Yes,
give me
sir.
one real quick, Quintin. Give me an our city.
Our city. Our city.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You say it so much cooler than I do. Like,
our city.
you got that like swag to you, man. I like it.
Yeah, they got to include me in one of those promos,
Let's go.
Yes, sir.